Hey everyone, welcome back to the Improv TX Comedy Network. If this is your first time checking out the podcast network, we appreciate it. Please head over to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, or iTunes, and give the Improv TX Comedy Network a like. And just a reminder, the Improv TX Comedy Network is live on YouTube with all your favorite comedians on the improv stage. All links can be found in the description. And with that, on to the podcast. Hey everybody, welcome to the Act Out. From open mic to the big stage, comedians tell us how stories are made. This is Doc. Today, I'm with a very special guest. This guy is a legend in the game. He has been working for 35 years in the game. I'm telling you, I'm so excited. The first comedian I ever saw on stage was Shuckey Duckey. I went to an open mic. I was sitting there and somebody goes, all right, here comes Shuckey Duckey. And you got on stage and you crushed it. Well, I knew who Shuckey Duckey was actually because of Herman Cain when he said Shuckey Duckey quack quack when he was running for president. And so I knew about you, but I'd never seen you before. So it was the Arlington Improv. And then you popped up on that stage. You crushed it. You did your Samuel L. Jackson joke. You killed it. The whole crowd was like, oh my God, that's hilarious. And you said whenever you went up there, you're like, everyone needs to practice or something like that.
Right. The more stage time you get, the better you come at it.
Yeah. So, been in the game 35 years, been across the country. Have you went international too?
Yes, I've been to Spain, Japan, Italy, Europe. I've been around.
Very nice. Well, yes, we are talking with the legendary Shuckey Duckey today. Shuckey, how are you, sir?
I'm fine.
Cecil Armstrong?
That's my government name. That's why I'm born in the hospital. That's the government name.
So, yeah, let's talk about it. Where were you born and raised? You're from here, right?
I'm from Dallas. Born in Oak Cliff. Well, my first school that I went to was in South Dallas, Colonial Elementary School in South Dallas. And then I think that went half the semester there. And then we moved to Oak Cliff and went to NWR Lee. That was a school that named after a black guy. I lived in Oak Cliff in the bottom most of all of my life, you know.
And you have jokes about that too, about growing up in a raggedy house and just, you're the oldest of 6 children.
Right. That wasn't no jokes. That was true. I wasn't joking about that.
Yeah. It's hilarious. If you go online, the real Shuckey Duckey on YouTube, you can check out all the clips. You can check out the comedy. It's amazing. So what was it like growing up? The oldest of 6 children. Did you have to kind of be the father figure in the household?
I had to be the father figure, but I was the scariest kid. I was trying to be the oldest kid. Everybody was jumping on me. I was running from bullies and everything. But my second brother named Kenneth, he was terrified. He can whoop everybody in the neighborhood, But I was the oldest child, and I had to really take care of the rest of the kids.
I know that there were father figures kind of in your life, throughout your life, but there was one, main one, I believe so, but, you pretty much took care of everything, right?
Yeah, I took care of most of everything because my mother was a single parent. She had a boyfriend, I say a boyfriend, but she had 3 kids by him, and his name was Jerry Lee. I learned a lot from him because, we did construction work. He built inlets for the streets, so he taught us how to do that. But he had a work ethic, where you get out and just work, hustle. So I watched a lot of stuff from him.
So what was it like growing up in Oak Cliff? Were you the funny kid? Were you the...
No.
Shy?
No, I was very shy.
Yeah.
Very shy, scared of girls. all of that. But because my mother was a single parent, and sometimes we stayed with our aunt, so it was kind of like a blended family. My mom was the poorest out of all her siblings. All her siblings had about 2 kids, no more than 3. My mama had 6. So she broke the mold. And so she was always asking for money and always looking for some money. And, the rest of the family didn't want to get it. They called her Begging Joe because she was begging all the time and all like that. So I wanted to do something, with my life to be able to get her out of that situation, So I dreamed of being a star. Jackson 5 came out. I wanted to be a part of that. But James Brown was really the guy that I really wanted to be like, to be a singer, because maybe they can get the girls and get me out of this shyness, and then plus help my mom, get out of this poverty situation.
So comedy wasn't even on the table at that point?
Comedy was not even on the table.
But you were musically inclined. You were in the band, right, in school?
Yeah, I played drums in the band in high school.
There you go.
In junior high school, Oliver Wendell Holmes. I went to begin the band in Oliver Wendell Holmes. And then when I got over to Roosevelt High School in Oak Cliff, I got in the band. I wasn't really a good drummer, but I was really learning. I was steady learning, so I grabbed the cymbals. So I played the cymbals for about 2 years. But I tell you what, I was a star with the Star Spangled Banner. The place, bam, ba-dum, bam, 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 bang! I was on it, brother.
It's so funny because I can relate to that. I did the same thing, and I crashed those symbols together as hard as I possibly could. That's hilarious.
And when I was in high school, I watched Gremlin. Gremlin. We was all imitating Gremlin because Gremlin was one of the biggest bands and most show bands. And so the Gremlin cymbal players came off the field on their backs playing the cymbals. So we got a chance to play South Oak Cliff. South Oak Cliff was our rivalry. And we got to play South Oak Cliff, and I was out there playing them cymbals, bam, 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 bam. And then it was got time for us to come off that field. Bam, I hit them cymbals and got on my back, boy. I was a star. And one of the guys had the drums. He went around me in a circle. And, man, I was a star for the whole month that they had that game with South Oak Cliff playing those cymbals. I was a star.
That's awesome. Is that your first taste of entertaining, or were you entertaining at a young age?
Well, Easter speeches, for church. So I was known for a good speaker. I did the oratorical contest in elementary school. The teacher said, you got a good voice. She liked my voice. But I got to the finals, but I didn't get a chance to do the speech because somebody else would beat me out on that. I lost confidence really lost confidence in myself to then finish the speech. And somebody else did the speech, But she said, I don't know why you didn't learn that speech. You got the better voice. You got the better presentation. I don't know why, But because of the insecurities I had within myself, I always put myself down. I always just gave up. I didn't say gave up, but I just didn't have that confidence.
Why do you think that was?
I don't know what it was. And sometimes I suffer from that still to the day. I don't know what it is. Sometimes I can sabotage my whole situation. I can have a good situation, and sometimes this sabotage just comes in and just destroys it. But I've been listening to this guy, Patrick David. Man, I've been listening to him. And a lot of the stuff that he's talking about, I've experienced it, and now I'm trying to gain that confidence to do. I mean, I got the confidence.
I was going to say, you've got the confidence.
I got the confidence, but I just got to follow. I got to follow through. I need to get that follow through and to keep on striving and make it bigger than what it is. Because the Shuckey Duckey thing came by so surprisingly, and it took a life of its own. And I don't think I was prepared for it, but it took a life of its own.
We're definitely going to get into that. I want to talk about real quick when you met your biological father and your half brother, and you got into the company with him, the party company. What was that all about?
Well, my mom told me, I want you to meet somebody. I said, okay. So she took me to this parking garage. This parking garage, this guy came out. She said, this is your father. I kind of knew from the gossip around in the family that the guy's name that I carry is not my father. So when I met him, I said, wow. Then he said, oh, he looked just like Carl, which is my half brother. He looked just like Carl. I said, okay. So you want to meet Carl? And my daddy's name was Willie. And so I said, okay, I want to meet him. Because, you get to find your father, to have that connection, because you want to know what type of personality he was. What can you do to grow up? Because I think I went to it was like the band director. I kind of clinged on to the band director as a father figure, because I didn't know him as a father. But then, just about when I was getting ready to graduate from school, my mother introduced me to my father. And that was a great connection. I did a lot of those things with him because my daddy was a promoter. He liked to promote, and my stepbrothers liked to promote. And so he got in trouble. Him and one of his friends fell out. They fell out in a business deal. I was working for the bus company at the time, cleaning buses, not driving buses. This time I was cleaning buses. And I told him, I said, hey, man, I'll go in business with you. I'll learn how to do the party thing. And so he taught me how to, give parties and promote. And with partying and promoting, brought girls. That's a whole new different thing. I was scared of girls, but then now that I'm in the limelight partying, girls.
Yes.
And all that type of stuff. So that was a great experience to see my biological father. And I stayed with him my grandma, I stayed with him for a little bit just to try to get that connection.
I mean, that's awesome. And then the party thing, that went for a little while, the party company?
It went from 77 to 79.
Oh, wow. So 2 years of partying hard.
Right. Well, learning that being in that limelight.
Now, when you say party, you didn't get any drugs or anything like that?
Oh, no. I tried some weed or something like that. but I wasn't good at that either. I think one time I was smoking some weed and they was passing it around and it got down to the real little bitty part. And I was sucking it so hard, I sucked the fire down my throat. I said, well, every time I pass, I make sure that I don't have a big one.
So you got out of the party business because you found religion again, right?
Well, I grew up in the church. Church of God in Christ. That's all we did was church. and get into that party life. The girls was coming. It was like a fast life, but I felt like something was missing. I said, something definitely missing. But I had a epiphany about, black people. It was like, I say, why are we so down on the bottom? Why are we on the bottom all the time? It's like, so I want to get to the bottom of the truth of what life is and what life was about. So I wanted to get down to that bottom. So I started going to church. I was going to be in church strictly. I was going to strictly be down. I was going to dedicate it and be strictly in the church. So I went deep into the church.
Yeah.
And started learning from Church of God in Christ. I left and I went and got into Baptist church. I did a little Islam, but not that much. I didn't do that much. But then I got into Buddhism, and that was in 1980.
Now, before you got into Buddhism, you became a pastor, right?
Well, yeah. When I got into Baptist church, they ordained me. I got my license ordained to be a preacher. Not a pastor, but a preacher.
Did you do that for long?
No, I didn't do that long. I did about 3 sermons. Found that I ain't gonna be able to make that. I don't think I'm gonna make it as a preacher. I'll make it as a preacher.
So you found Buddhism after that?
Yeah, it was seeking Buddhism. I was working for a grocery store, and this lady, I was taking her groceries out. She was Japanese, and she said, "Are you happy?" I'm saying, "Yeah, I'm happy," but I was happy on the outside, but crying on the inside because me and my wife had separated. So it was this big separation, and my life was going all kinds of ways because I didn't know what I was going to try to accomplish. And I always wanted to be a star, be something important, but it wasn't going like I wanted to go. So she told me about this Buddhism. Well, she didn't tell Buddhism. She said, "I want you to come to a meeting." So I go to this meeting, and I see these people chanting in front of this scroll, and the harmony with all the different, it was a diverse crowd. Black, white, Spanish, it was just a diverse crowd. I just loved that harmony. And I said, oh, this is good. And so at that time, I was getting ready to go to Chicago. So I didn't join in Dallas, but I joined in Chicago when I left to go to Chicago because I got a job or offer to sell advertising for a radio station, WXOL in Chicago. And they said they was going to give me 3 months to get myself together. And I didn't make a sale in a month, and they let me go.
Oh, wow.
But that's the reason why I went to Chicago, was to make it into the radio.
You didn't have a job or anything, and you're in Chicago. And
no, I didn't have a job in Chicago. I had the promise of working sales for WXOL radio station. And so I was trying to learn how to sell a radio thing. I got fired before it panned out. But what I did, though, I had some money left, and I went and got me some dishwashing liquid, a little brush, and a little towel. And I started washing cars. I went to this service station that was on 51st and Cornell. I went to the service station and asked the man, could I wash some cars? I said, y'all the mechanic, y'all fix the cars. Don't the people like to have a clean car when they pick the car up? He said, yes. I was charging $5 at that time. So every third car, I give them the 5. So I make 10, get them 5, then 10, 5, 10, 5, like that. And so that's what I did. I started a little car wash business.
Wow. You do this over and over again. If you're in a tight spot, you find a hustle and you make it work. I know that recently, and we'll get to that, but during COVID, you did the same thing.
Right.
So, but we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Okay.
I think it's amazing. So how did you end up coming back to DFW then?
Well, I had stacked up some money, and then I was staying with my sister there. And so she wanted some more money. So I said, let me give me a plane ticket and get up out of here before I be broke and all that type of stuff. So I left because I said, well, if I start this car wash here in Chicago, I can start me one in Dallas. And so that's what I did, brought it back to Dallas.
And this is about the time, when were you driving the bus?
See, when I came back in 81. So I was still trying to find myself. So I knew I could wash the cars. So what I did was get me more business. I went around to paint and body shops, asking them, do they want, get the car service? And they said, yeah. So I got this car that somebody had threw a brick over a bridge, and the lady got killed in the car.
Ooh.
And they asked me to clean the car.
Oh, wow.
And so I cleaned the car real good, got the blood stains and stuff out of the car, did good. So I started going around different other paint and body shops so I could pick up some more business. And so I went to this paint and body shop off of Marvin D. Love Freeway in South Oak Cliff, and they needed a wash guy because they had a lot of cars in-house. They needed somebody to wash the cars there. I said, yeah, I took that job. So I had steady income coming in and started working for the paint and body shop.
So how did that transition over to cleaning the buses? Did you do that before you left for
Well,
Chicago?
I did. The cleaning the buses came back in 1977.
Okay, so you were doing that way before.
Yeah, I did way before that. I did
Okay.
that in 77 because I was going to college. The time I got out of high school, I went to college at Bishop College in Dallas. And so it wasn't working out too good because, you needed money. And then so when I applied for this cleaning up the bus, I got hired. So I say, forget college. I'm finna go work, make me some money.
Yeah, there you go.
And so that was in 77. And then from 77, that's when I was working with my brother doing the partying thing. And then I got to going up in the church. So I left that and went to start doing the gospel in 79. And then I'm going to tell you what I also did. Because I was doing the partying thing, like from 77 to 78, and then I stopped, I was so used to partying and doing the DJing thing that I went to a radio station, KSKY, and you could buy airtime at KSKY. So I could buy 30 minutes for, I think it was $15.
Oh, wow.
And then I think it was $30 for 30 minutes, something around that area. But I started me a little gospel called Half Hour Gospel Power. Cecil Armstrong, the gospel DJ.
Oh, wow.
Half Hour of Gospel Power.
Right on. How long did you do that?
Not long. I mean, I'm a jack of all trade, a master of none.
I'm telling you, you've done so much.
Within a short period of time.
Yeah.
Because I was all over the place. And I tell people, if you want to be successful, you got to find one thing, stick with that one thing, and stay with it in and out and make it work.
Yeah.
Because the time I get my back against the wall, if something ain't working for me, I jump ship and do something else. That was my MO.
And like I said, you did so much. The radio show, did that help boost your confidence then? Because this is all before comedy.
This all before comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it boosted it a little bit. I mean, it boosted it a little bit. It did, because I'm a type of person, when I'm interested in something, I'll go out and try to find the nuance of what makes it work. When I was in school, this is what I always tell people. I say, if a person brought you a business card, you say, oh, they successful. They got a business card. Then you find out you can get them printed up for $30, 1,000 of them with your name on it.
Right.
People saw something with your name on it. Then I was fascinated by music. I produced a record.
Yeah.
And I went behind the scenes of how the record was made. Then there's no mystery anymore. It doesn't fascinate me anymore because I know the secret of what it is.
Right.
But when you see your name on something and something that you accomplished, you feel, oh, I'm successful.
Yeah.
I'm successful. Same way with when I got into radio, television, and all that type of stuff. It was the same thing, getting behind the scenes. I'm more of a behind the scenes type of guy than in front of the scenes. And Shuckey Duckey put me in front, but I wasn't trying to really be in front.
Yeah, so let's talk about how you got into that, because you've been saying Shuckey Duckey for years. That was just kind of your thing, right?
Right. I've been saying the phrase ever since 82. I was saying the phrase.
Where did it come from?
I don't know. I just say it, and the people will laugh. I just have the awareness that people will laugh at it. I really can't really tell you how it really the phrase came about, but it all go back to the Buddhism type of thing. Okay. In 1984, when Jesse Jackson was running for president of the United States, Walter Mondale and Gary Hart was going at it. And Mondale told Gary Hart, where's the beef? It was kind of funny at the time. So that phrase was everywhere. Where's the beef? Where's the beef? So in 84, I was practicing Buddhism, and we was going to Japan. We wanted to go to Japan to see the Great Shrine, to go to Mount Fuji. So I needed some money. I didn't have any money. So I thought maybe I could sell some T-shirts with "Where's the Beef" on it and raise that money, since the phrase was popular. And then so the guy told me I couldn't do that because Wendy's had the copyright to it. So I was reading an article in the paper about came up with the campaign for it. So I called the advertising agency, and they told me to call Wendy's International. And then Wendy's International told me to call Pro Sports, who had the license agreement to sell "Where's the Beef" T-shirts all across the country. They sent me a contract, and they showed me the promotional package of what they did. They had bumper stickers, they had mugs, they had nightgowns, and then in the memo they said they're gonna come up with a country and western song called "Where's the Beef." I said okay. And then so Clara got in trouble with Wendy's for doing a spaghetti commercial. She did the same phrase on a spaghetti commercial.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
And then it was going back with legal jargon, and they sued her or whatever they did. But anyway, the campaign kind of died down. Mm-hmm. And so that was in 84. Then in 85, like I said, I like promoting. I had a friend of mine named Hoagie Starr who wrote a rap record, a LP, a long extended play called Get Live in 85. So I got behind him and started marketing his LP, pushing that LP because it was hot at the time. And I said, well, we only got a short period of time because 85 we're going to be over. It's going to be over at 85. We got to do something else. So at the end of 85, we finished that up. We sold we didn't sell that many records, but we sold some. So we got in a room in December of 85 and said, what's going to be our next project? And they said, well, we're going to come up In the Mix in 86. That was their album. I said, I tell you what, y'all do In the Mix in 86. I said, I'm going to do the Shuckey Duckey thing. I think I'll make this phrase work. Let's do the Shuckey Duckey thing. I say, Hoagie, why don't you write me a rap record? You help me with your 85. Why don't you write me a rap record? So I put him on that. I had a friend of mine who was a graphic artist who was practicing Buddhism with me. I asked him, come up with me a duck with a new, with some glasses because I'm a bus driver, and put the bus driver salute with the duck so that we pass each other, we always salute each other. So put that in there with the glasses. So he did that. Then I had another girl come up with a dance. And then while she was doing all of that, I had a big party getting set up in 86. In March of 86, called March Madness was coming to Dallas in 86. So I had a big party. And then so I was talking to a girl on the phone, and the girl say, what do Shuckey Duckey mean anyway? And then my mom would say, instead of saying shit, say Shuckey Duckey, And so my mom is the type of person who likes to look up words. So me and my mom got the dictionary. We started looking up the words. So we looked up the word shucks. Shucks was an expression that represents disappointment, okay? We got that one. Then we looked up the word ducky. Ducky is the Irish term for excitement, pleasure. Then so we said, okay, mom, let's do it like this. We say Shuckey Duckey could mean disappointment or excitement. So we wrote the definition. Shuckey Duckey is the phrase that means disappointment or excitement. Instead of cursing when you stomp your toe, we say Shuckey Duckey. You see a fine girl or guy you like, you say, oh, Shuckey Duckey. It's hot, new, and fun to say. Use Shuckey Duckey in your vocabulary today. And we put out 10,000 flyers. I had 10,000 flyers printed up with that definition on it. And every concert that came to Dallas, I would put it out there, just start passing it out. I had gowns made. I had T-shirts made. I was selling T-shirts. I was selling T-shirts at the bus company and everything. So I was selling and making it work.
Hey everyone, it's just Duck jumping in to say thank you so much for checking out the podcast today. If you dig it, please head over to our website at improvtx.com, where you can check out our calendar for all the upcoming shows in Addison, Arlington, Houston, and San Antonio. And don't forget to follow our social media, all links in the description. And with that, back to the podcast.
And then I was driving the bus and I saw this advertising for Funny. It's like continuous education. It was teaching you how you market your ideas, how you get publicity and all that type of stuff. So I signed up with that course and I met this guy named Jerry Oaks. And Jerry Oaks helped me to get my corporation, get it laid out and everything. So he helped me learn how to promote. And we did a market survey where we got some kids because we were going to market it to kids. So we bought the kids and put them in and let them do their thing and look at the stuff, but they wasn't feeling it. Then so one kid said if Eddie Murphy was to say this would be fun or funny, because Eddie Murphy was hot at that time. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, I know I can't afford no Eddie Murphy. I said, stand-up comedy. So stand-up comedy was the way to go to promote this thing. I went to a open mic night at the West End.
Did you practice before you went, or did you just go?
No, I just went up. I had some little jokes that I had, some little street jokes that we tell. So,
yeah.
So I just went up because it was open mic night just to get a feel. And I got on stage, did a little joke. When I got off the stage, this guy named Christopher said, hey, man, I like your voice. I like your stage presence. There's an organization called the Comedy Gym that teaches you the ins and outs of stand-up comedy. I said, really? Yeah. It was on Greenville. It was on Greenville at the Funny Bone during that time. And I went up there and signed up. And next thing you know, start working on 5 minutes worth of material, 15 minutes of material, trying to get to the 45 minutes worth of material. And that was all in 87.
So everything 87. Shuckey Duckey came before, including the record.
Yeah.
The single, it came before you even decided to do comedy.
Right.
That's insane.
All of that came first.
So did you ever, when you were younger, have an inkling that comedy could be an avenue for you? Or was this like, it opened the door once he said that? No, you know what? Because I was shy and I had a lot of stuff that people could talk about me. My teeth was like, I had piano teeth. It was bucked and it was spread it all out and everything. Nappy hair. It was just real tight. But, I had a lot of insecurities about myself. So I would try to hide or try to not get in people's way because I could be the topic because I had so many different things going on. So you got bullied a lot, I take it? I got bullied a lot. Yeah. Man. I got bullied a whole lot. A whole lot. I mean, every school I went to, I was a bully and it seemed like I gravitated to the bully. Yeah. Or the bully gravitated to me for some reason. I feel that because I was bullied constantly. And the way I dealt with it was comedy. I would find if I could make my bully laugh, he wouldn't beat the crap out of me. Well, the way I dealt with it was running. So he wouldn't catch me. Well, I was fat then too, so that wasn't going to happen. So you're getting into comedy. You're driving the bus at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So you're doing both of those. You've made Shuckey Duckey a phrase that people know at this point, right? So people get on the bus, you say Shuckey Duckey, they say quack quack. Like, it was well known in the area.
Well, the quack quack, it was just saying Shuckey Duckey at the time. It wasn't until I did the rap record that the quack quack came in.
Yeah.
Came in there. But now it was just Shuckey Duckey, and had a t-shirt, Shuckey Duckey. I wish I had an old t-shirt. I got old t-shirts and stuff, the first t-shirt that I made. I got that. But it was just that phrase. It was just so, people would laugh. It was so, catchy and cute. Another reason why I wanted to market it, because of the response that it received.
So comedy, where did you start?
We had a comedy culture coming in Dallas. We had a Repo Pizza that was over on Skillman. We had Backdoor Comedy Club. We had the Improv. The Improv was, at that time, Improv had just came up there on Walnut Hill. So we had the Improv. We used to hang out at the Improv all the time, and we watched the guys perform. I did a couple of contests at the Improv. Where I came in maybe second or third places. It was just an innocent, grinding, having fun. It wasn't about being a star at that time. It was just about having fun and being express yourself as a joke. And the people was enjoying those jokes. And so I was enjoying the high of people enjoying my comedy. So some of the comedians said I was corny, but I loved it when people came up to me and say, "Hey man, I enjoyed your show. I didn't understand what you said, but I enjoyed your show."
You work clean too, right?
And I wasn't trying to work clean, but we had to be clean in order to get on the show. We couldn't be raunchy because the comedians that was coming after us wasn't raunchy, so we couldn't be raunchy. Well, the Comedy Gym taught me the techniques of making stuff funny without using profanity. But, I like to use cuss words every once in a while.
Yeah, I was going to say, you curse a little bit.
Yeah, I curse a little bit.
You flavor it up a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah. So when did you get involved at Steve Harvey's comedy club?
Buku Ray. But this would happen, though. 87, I was taking the classes. Then in 1988, March 14th, 1988, I did my debut. Then, so I kept on doing, stuff in San Antonio, Austin, do showcases all over. And then, so in 91, we went to Santa Monica, California, the whole group. Comedy Jam went to Santa Monica, California.
What was Comedy Jam?
Comedy Jam was the organization that I joined that teaches the ins and outs of stand-up comedy.
Okay, I got you. So you and a bunch of people from that class.
A bunch of us in that class went to charter to go to Santa Monica to do a showcase in California. So we went up there as a group to do showcase. When I did my little part, I came off the stage in 91, and the guy said, he was a casting director for Hard Copy. And he said, "Man, I like you, man, and everything, pretty funny, I thank you." He said, "But I can't do anything for you in Texas. You got to come to California." So when I got back to Dallas, I quit my job and moved to LA in 91. And it was a struggle up there too. It was a real struggle because, everybody out there is trying to make it to be a star in LA. And people were calling me up, saying, "Shuckey, are you a star yet?" And I said, "Yeah, starving my ass off. Can't hardly get no food around here." So but it was brutal because during that time, it was like comedians would talk about your bad. Like, I had a whole lot of insecurities and a whole lot of things that you could pick out on me and talk about me. But I still tried to make it. I think I did a show at Carlos and Charlie's, and I think Michael Collier was the MC or the host of that room. And I went up there and I had on some outfit that matches from the top to the bottom, like it was the two-piece. And I had on some shoes that looked like Vanilla Ice or some sort like that. And this guy in his audience talked about my shoes so bad and everything. And I wasn't strong enough to come back on nobody. And then so Michael Collier took the mic, talked about the guy, and then gave me back the mic. And the guy said he still got some messed up shoes. So it was an experience there. And then, so things wasn't working as well as I thought it was. Me and a friend of mine who went up there also, who was in the park, in Venice Beach Park, sitting there talking about we wanted to be successful. We didn't want to be no failure and all that kind of deal. And we were drinking some Crown Royal and getting drunk and everything. And then somebody came around in some skates with some tickets to the Price is Right. And I said, "All right." I said, "Since I'm getting ready to leave, go back to Dallas," I said, "Shoot, at least I can go see the Price is Right before I left." And I had those tickets. And matter of fact, when I went to Price is Right, I got on the Price is Right and won a car.
No way.
Yes.
No way. Did you go by your name, Cecil Armstrong?
Yeah, Cecil Armstrong.
Okay,
yeah.
I wasn't sure if you Shuckey Duckey it
No,
up or not.
No, with no Shuckey Duckey.
And you won a car?
I won a car.
Who was the host at the time? Was it
It was Bob Barker. Bob Barker was the host.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. What kind of car was it?
It was a Grand Am.
Oh, wow.
It was a Grand Am.
That is
91
so cool.
Grand Am.
That is so cool.
Red.
So you ended up deciding to leave LA.
Yeah, because the things wasn't working out. Plus, I had a son. I had a son back in Dallas, so I was kind of missing my son, at the same time. So I wanted to get back to him. I use that as an excuse as well. And I told everybody I was coming back to, visit for Thanksgiving, because I came back at Thanksgiving. But all my stuff was packed up in my car. So I went on back to Dallas. And when I got to Dallas, they were telling me that Steve Harvey had a comedy club, Vuku Ray. And I said, oh, yeah. So I'm down there to the club. Gave Steve Harvey my resume. Back then we had resumes. So I gave him a resume. And he looked at it and he said, I don't think, you're going to make this, you've been around them white people around. To make this. But shoot, when I went up, I hit him. And he said, oh, man, I'm going to let you host my Apollo night. And I was able to host the Apollo night. He was instrumental in getting me on the Apollo and a lot of other different things. Matter of fact, he gave me my first out-of-state gig. I had to open up for Paul Mooney in Miami. I still got the flyer.
What was that like?
Paul Mooney?
Yeah.
Oh, man, Paul Mooney would clear the room.
Yeah.
The room was cleared. I was overjoyed just to be on stage.
So you got to go on Showtime with the Apollo. Did that come quickly after that? Or was that some more time that went past?
No, everything started getting on television around about 93, 94. Steve Harvey became the host, or he was a standby host on the Apollo, and then he became the permanent host for the Apollo. And he said, I'm going to get you on. He got me on. We went down the list of what I was going to perform, and he told me, do this, and everything. And the rest is history.
You can watch the clip online now. It's up there. If anyone wants to check it out, go to @RealShuckey and you can watch that on YouTube. It'll be awesome. Def Jam come after that? Or is that
what's so strange about it was everything was hitting all within that 93, 94 time frame. Okay, Def Jam. Def Jam was hot in 91, 92. It was hot, really, really hot. And I wanted to get on. I wanted to get on. But Steve said he showed the tape to the Def Jam people, and they said they don't think I was going to be that funny. So I said, no. I said, okay. Then, so Bill Bellamy came down. I worked with Bill Bellamy, and I told Bill Bellamy about what I want to do. He said, we can get you on Def Jam. Then he said, well, you had to come up to the Peppermint Lounge in New Jersey. So I went up there to the Peppermint Lounge. Ticket was like $99, round trip almost. So I got me a round trip ticket, went up to New Jersey, did the Peppermint Lounge, and they liked me. He told me I'm gonna be on Def Jam. I was happy. Yeah. And so I came back to Dallas and told everybody I was gonna be on Def Jam. And I was on the Tom Jones show. I just whispered in his ear that I was gonna be on Def Jam. And he said, "Can we talk about it?" I said, "No, we can't talk about it." And then he kept on bugging me about it. I said, "Yeah, let's talk about it." And then when Def Jam came around, they didn't call me. I said, "Oh," so I called them, and then they sent me a letter saying, "We'll call you, don't you call us."
Oh, jeez. That's horrible. So how did you eventually end up getting on? Because you were season 4, episode 5.
I think, Bill Cosby said something about Def Jam. When he said that, I guess they were scrambling to get some more comedians because they were cycling the same comedians over. So they, try to get some other influences, Because if you got on there and you didn't make it, they'll cut you anyway. If you didn't do good, they'll cut you anyway. And so Tina Graham, who was very instrumental in trying to get me on there, she worked her butt off and got me on there. And that was history because they didn't think I was going to do good. But I did that first. When that green, I had that green. They said I did good.
Yeah, you crushed it. So after you did that, did it blow up? Did you end up going across the nation?
Oh, yeah. I started getting a lot of offers, things of that nature. But I still wasn't really, 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 really ready because I only had about maybe 15, maybe 20 minutes worth of material.
Wow. You were on TV and you only had 20 minutes worth of material?
I was the internet comedian before the internet. I was the internet comedian before the internet.
It's so true.
Because I didn't know, and I was getting nervous because, I was going to play this. I couldn't, bluff that. Because my thing was pushing the phrase. I wasn't trying to be the best comedian. I was just getting exposure for the phrase. I wished I could be behind the scenes and not in front of the scenes. Because I wanted to sell T-shirts and the record. that was gonna be my ticket, so I can do. I didn't want my name to be Shuckey Duckey.
So it just kind of happened through serendipity.
Well, because when I first started out, it was Cecil Armstrong, the funniest bus driver in America, better known as Shuckey Duckey. It was too long. Then I say, okay, funniest bus driver in America. But I didn't want all my stuff to be about bus drives, so I wanted to cut that out. And then so I said to myself, what I'm trying to promote? Shuckey Duckey. So I'll just be Shuckey Duckey. And that's what I did, use the Shuckey Duckey. So it ain't be no question asked. And then people curious, then I'll be able to explain it. Bam. And make it work like that. And then I can sell T-shirts.
So do you look back on that and wish that you wouldn't have done that at this point? Or because I know you kind of have like a love-hate relationship with the name.
Yeah, I got a love-hate, but it was like I knew with the name Shuckey that a lot of black people was going to back off of it. Mostly the bourgeoisie, people going to look at it as, man, you shucking and jiving type of thing. And then the people that's down earth, they, it's funny. And it's funny. So I know I had that kind of like going back and forth. But my goal was to make Shuckey Duckey a household word, a phrase to sell the T-shirts and stuff like that. So I just took that chance. And it stuck with it. Even when I tried to do Cecil Armstrong, or either I tried to do something else, people weren't buying it. They didn't want to hear this Shuckey Duckey. They want to hear the quack quack. They wanted to hear that.
That's how good the catchphrase is.
That's how good the catchphrase was. It took a life of its own. They loved it, so I just kept on working it. But then I had to try to make it cool. I had to make it where it wasn't corny, because my jokes ain't really corny. Maybe when I first started out, maybe. But no, I didn't have no corny jokes. And a lot of people think it's a character, because Shuckey Duckey is a character. So I said, no, the name might be a character, but the jokes is about life, the things that I have experienced. So it really, it's just tied in. It's kind of like a contrast. It's like, it ain't matching up, so to say. It's contrast. The name is this, and then my jokes is this, and then my look. My look was like a businessman type of a look, or a strong kind of look.
Well, it kind of plays into the cool thing.
Yeah, plays the cool, and that's what they had to do. And that's what I had to do, is to make it cool to make it fun. And then I said, okay, I know I'm going to outgrow this. I'm going to be like, you got the gray hair. I'm going to outgrow this, but I had a way to make it so it could still be relevant today at an old age.
It's interesting to me that you have that kind of relationship with it, where you didn't want to be Shuckey Duckey, but you became Shuckey Duckey. And like everyone, I mean, somebody says that, like they know who you are. If I say that to somebody, you're a legend, like I said. So like the first time I saw you on stage, I was like, Shuckey Duckey. Like I had the same reaction everyone has. And then I'd be like, I saw Shuckey Duckey on stage. I was like, you saw Shuckey Duckey? Like, so you are a legend. And the name fits well. So I think it's funny that it's one of those things where you kind of have like this, you kind of wish you didn't have to go by the name, but it fits so well.
Fits so well.
It does. It really fits you. But like you said, you took a lot of shit for it.
Yeah, I took a lot of it, because that name succeeded a lot of people who was very established.
Yeah. And
a lot of promoters was calling for me to be on those shows, because they wanted to see Shuckey Duckey. Maybe some jealousy came in, sort of that. But there was gunslingers doing it. They ready to shut you down. I did a show in the Bahamas, I think it was, and those guys was, they was real raunchy. They was real, sex. They was talking, and I was the headliner. And so, but when I came up, all my shit just died, because they done took it to that level of sex, and I didn't have those type of sex jokes, and so it died. So I told the promoter, I said, man, we got to change this show around. He said, why? He said, you the headliner. I said, yeah, but you want me to die every night? I got to host this thing. He said, no, you're going to change the money. I said, no, we ain't going to change no money. We're going to get to pay the same thing. We're going to pay the money, because I'm still bringing the people in there. We just got to change the show, because I want to have a win-win situation, and not know, everybody looking at me, because some people were talking about me, and Shuckey Duckey shouldn't have been on there. He shouldn't even been on the show. So we changed it around, and it worked. And I was trying to figure out a way till I can catch up to the headliner, to catch up to that part of being a strong headline. And then what I had to find out was Richard Pryor talked about his life, but we looked at Richard Pryor as a god.
Yes.
Somebody that, the genius, you couldn't match up to who Richard Pryor is. But when Kevin Hart came out and started talking about his life, I said, oh, I got it then. Kevin Hart, I said, okay, I see it now. I see how you do it. Because even Miss Pat, she talks about her life, because I didn't think my life was that interesting.
It's super interesting.
No, I didn't think it was that interesting. So I said, okay, now if that's the criteria for doing it, then I got a whole lot of stuff I can talk. I'll just have to come out of my shell to talk about it, to make it funny and and everything. So when I saw Kevin Hart, what he did, I said, okay, I got to start working it. It's like I said, I ran away a lot of times. When I faced some obstacles, something else would come up and make a way for me. So I did a show. After 98, I got into a gospel play. It's called A Fool and His Money. And I was Uncle Ski. And the play did pretty good. And the play ran for about six months. Mm-hmm. And people were liking my acting ability in the play. So another guy came to me with a play. And it was happening in 2000s. About the 2000s, and it was called When a Woman's Fed Up. And that play ran for almost 2 years until 9/11.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, until 9/11 hit. And then when 9/11 hit, play things kind of died a little bit.
Now, was it traveling or something?
Yeah, it was traveling play. And then so after that hit, the circus called. Because the lady that I was doing the play with, they liked our chemistry and they wanted us to be a part of the circus, not necessarily the ringmaster for the circus, but a part of the circus. And so I said, okay. Yeah, I could give it a shot. When I went, next thing you know, I became the ringmaster.
Yeah, so you went in doing comedy, is that right? Or you were acting?
We was going to be, me and this young lady named Patrice Lovely was going to be an act in the circus. And I was really, I took it because I was, like I said, my comedy wasn't really standing up like I wanted. I really hadn't really developed to where I need to be a strong headline. And so that's what caused me to go and take the circus gig is I had a show in Saginaw, Michigan. And the same thing, I'm popular. They're going to make me the headline. And so I went to the guy and said, hey, man, can I host the show? He said, no, man, you can't host the show. You the headliner. You the biggest name on the ticket. I said, oh, God. Then he go, you know how you do a black guy, you say, are you scared? Oh, no. I said, no, I ain't scared. I'm not scared, I ain't scared. I was scared. And then so I said, okay, let me take a drink. I'll take a drink. Maybe it'll loosen me up. I'd be funny on the stage. I took that drink. Then I got to the venue. I took a drink. And then the promoter's wife gave me a drink. I was the last person to go up. When I went up, all three of them drinks hit at the same time. I said the same jokes about, I don't know how many times I said that joke. I couldn't find my pockets. And then I cussed the sound man out, the light man out. I was so embarrassed. I was just embarrassed. And I say, wow. I tried to save face, but I was embarrassed. So when the circus called, I jumped on that. I said, I got to do something so I can get my act together, so to say. Had to do something. So it sustained me for a while. And then that was in Saginaw, Michigan. And I looked at the schedule for the circus. Saginaw, Michigan was nowhere on that. I said, good. They rerouted that schedule. Next thing you know, I wind up in Saginaw, Michigan. God dog it. And time I got to the hotel, the housekeeper said, that was the guy that cussed us out. I said, God. So I learned you can't run from your fears. You got to face them. If you're embarrassed about something, just face it and stand up. And sometimes I did a show for some bikers, and I was trying to compete with the younger comedians and trying to get raunchy like them. I fell flat on my face. I said, well, that ain't the route. But I didn't run. I stayed there and took the abuse. I said, okay, I'll take that abuse because I'm learning. I'm known for that Shuckey Duckey phrase. I had to use that Shuckey Duckey phrase in my show, but I had to do it sparingly where it ain't overdone. Because when I first started, I did overdo it a little, but I was trying to promote a phrase. And so it happened. But now my comedy is so good, funny, down to earth. People can relate to it. I'll be on it.
Absolutely. And when you became Ringmaster, you did that for a long time, right?
I did it 5 years straight, then off and on about 8 to 10 years. It was a learning experience because, in being a ringmaster, you got to control the audience. You got to look out for the performers. You got to look out for the audience. And you got to entertain. We don't have a curtain, so we had to change from one act to next. So we had to do segues to take the tension off the ring while we set up for the next act.
Oh, wow.
So it was a lot of work.
And 5 years traveling. So when did you decide to give that up and just come back to comedy?
Well, I was able to buy me some property and a barbershop.
A church?
Building, all of that type of stuff. So, because if I failed, at least I have something to show for it. If I fail, I could do hair or some sort like that and still be in entertainment business. I think the reason why I didn't make it big like I thought I should have, because I always thinking about failure, not to look bad in front of other people. I came up from unstable. My mom used to move all the time. I mean, we used to move from place to place to place to place, living with relatives and all that kind of stuff. And so all I want to do to be successful is to have me a place to stay where I ain't got to move all the time, And basically, that's what it is, to have me a place to stay. So I was able to do that to give me a place to stay where I had to move all the time. So I was looking at it, if anything happened, because, you hear about stars struggling or whatever, but I use that as a blanket in case if I didn't make it, I had that to fall upon.
So you ended up owning all these things. You made good money.
I did pretty good. When I did my taxes, I said somebody was stealing. Somebody's stealing. But, because I was making more money. I used to make like $10,000 in one show. And that was big money to me. Now, the other people are making way more than that.
That's a lot of money, though.
Yeah, $10,000. I feel like I was in heaven. See, I bought my mama a car and everything.
Yeah,
I thought I was in heaven. I made that money, but when I started buying the property, it gave me something to show for it. That's what I was doing.
So you had the church, you had the rental property, the barbershop. So during COVID, whenever that came through, I know that you said that, you couldn't collect rent. People wouldn't come to the barbershop. Shut down. Yeah, everything shut down, right?
Everything shut down. All my streams of income shut down. And so, therefore, I just took that Home Depot card and bought me a lawnmower, blower, and a weed eater and started cutting yards. And it was essential because everybody needed those yards, especially the older people needed their yards cut. And so I did it. And then, I went to a guy's house and I said, man, I got this lawn service business. I'll cut your yard. He said, yeah. So he thought I had a whole big old crew, a crew. And it's always just me at this time, building it up. And he said, but man, you're a celebrity. I said, well, I can't eat celebrity. I need to get it to cut his yard. And so when I started cutting his backyard, he got on Facebook Live filming me saying, Shuckey Duckey is cutting my yard. And I said, yeah, and you're paying celebrity prices too. So I see trying to, so my thing with life is people can put you down, talk about you, but you can turn that joker around. Yeah, I can accept it. It's like I had the scatter teeth, all of that type of stuff. You can take that stuff. People can hit you with the insult or put you down, but you can turn it. You can make lemonade out of lemons. You just sit back and find the humor in it. If somebody gonna put you down, let them talk. Then you find a way you can twist it. That'll benefit you, and take the sting out of what they're doing.
I appreciate the hustle. Like, you have all these things going on, then it falls because of COVID, it's not your fault. And then you're just like, well, I'm going to do this thing then. Like, You never sit still. You always have a plan. You always come up with something. When you're backed against the wall, you're like, I'm going to go try this now. I'm going to go do this thing now. I appreciate it because the hustle is real, and it's hard. It's hard out here.
But you know what? It's fun. It's not sitting back not doing anything, but sitting back, okay, how can I, you're back against the wall, how can I get out of this situation? There's a way to get out of a lot of situations. And sometimes we want an easier way out, maybe selling drugs or some sort.
Yeah.
But even that's a hard hustle.
Yeah, it is.
But sometimes you can't let your pride get to you. You got to say, hey, I got to eat this. I got to make it happen. Forget about what other people think. They ain't not paying my rent. They ain't paying my bills. They ain't doing nothing. I got to make this thing happen. And so I go out there, I make it happen. And my comedy, I'm good. I'm good at comedy. I got good jokes, and I got a wealth of stories that have happened to me. I put on that stage. I just didn't open up because I was a loner type of person. I was the type of person that stayed by himself all the time. I didn't hardly mess with nobody. I stayed to myself mostly all the time. I was a loner. So, but comedy, you got to be
networking.
You got to be networking.
Networking constantly. Yeah.
But I don't like to get in nobody's way. I don't like nobody to get in my way. I don't like to mess with nobody. But if you're going to be in this business, you got to have a team around you in order for you to grow.
And I think that goes back to the marketing angle of it. Like you said, you love the behind-the-scenes side.
Behind the scenes.
And then to push something, whether it's the catchphrase, whether it's the name, whether it just be yourself. Like, that's the fun part you really enjoy. So I know we've been working on a couple of things here that hopefully go well. You know what I mean? I got to ask this. What advice would you have for any comedian that's coming up, just starting to get into the game? Somebody who's only a year in like myself. What would you say to do?
Go out there and just do it. Only way you're going to learn is trial and error. Stand out there and do it. The more you do it, the better you become at it. And then you're going to get tidbits from other comedians, but you have to follow your own advice, find what's comfortable. A comedian might give you some advice. It might be good, but you have to weigh that decision, whether they're saying it's good or not. You can accept it or don't accept it. It's up to you. But the only way is go out there and do it and be yourself. Be yourself. Find your voice. You have to find your voice. Not nobody else's voice. You got to find your voice and be true to who you are. Some people going to like you. Somebody ain't going to like you. You're not going to please everybody. But you got to get out there, put yourself in the line of fire. And that's the only way you're going to learn. If you fail at it or somebody boos you, that ain't the end of the world.
It's not.
And comedians say, I ain't never been booed. I don't consider yourself a comedian. I mean, sometimes you got to have a downfall somewhere or something. Because every time I got booed or if I got booed or something didn't go well, I understood why it didn't go well. One, it didn't go well because I was drinking. I thought maybe that's going to help me get my nerves up, and that didn't help. I wasn't in control of that. One went up, I was trying to compete with the young comedians and not being myself. That failed. So sometimes I think, man, my jokes are too old. But I wrote some good jokes. Some jokes is timeless. And I wrote them in such a way where I can do them anywhere, any city, anywhere, anytime.
Any crowd, too.
Any crowd.
Any crowd.
Any crowd. And that because I wasn't a prolific writer. I wasn't writing all the time. But I experienced a lot of different things. And I know how to phrase the joke where it would not die. You know, every joke that I got, every joke I got, just about you can tell it over and over and over and over again. It's like telling a good story, watching a good movie, reading a good book. If it's good, no problem. And then it's the energy that I put in it. When I go in there half-heartedly and worried about what people are thinking and I'm thinking too much, I'm going to have a bad show. If I'm not prepared, I'm going to have a bad show. But if I go in there enthusiastic, like I'm going in there, I'm telling these jokes for the first time. Even though I told them 300 or 400 times. This is my first time telling these jokes. Had that enthusiasm, so going to go real well. Because everybody ain't going to like it. Some people want to hear the joke again. Some people ain't never heard the joke. Some people don't, whatever. You got to get all that stuff out your head and have fun on that stage.
Absolutely.
And enjoy that stage. And the more you do it, the better you become at it. The more you're going to find your voice, find your way, find your style. You might take a little from some others as you starting out, but as you keep growing, this stuff going to drop off.
I'm sorry, I'm talking to the legendary Shuckey Duckey, and you're giving me advice right now. So that was for me specifically. I apologize. No, that was for everyone. My last question for you, where do you want to be in 5 years with everything? I know right now that
I want to be in 5 years?
Yeah.
Smoking a cigarette? No. I don't know about 5 years. I don't know. To me, life is not a journey. Life is a song and a dance. So I want my song to be bigger. I want my dance to be longer. I just want to have fun. 5 years now. Do a movie? Yeah, I want to do a movie. I want to do a documentary.
You've been in a movie.
I've been in a movie. Yeah. I want to do movies. I want to do a movie where I'm starring in the movie and it's my movie. I produced it and I directed it or whatever. I put up the money for it or whatever. There's a lot of stuff I would like to do. But tell you the truth though, Duck, I really accomplished. I wanted to make Shuckey Duckey a household word. I really accomplished that. I looked at my timeline paper, and that's what is on that paper, making Shuckey Duckey a household word. And I did that. I made enough money to buy a little this and little that. If I leave today, I can say I'm very successful because I made that word popular. And it pops up everywhere. It took a life of its own, and it pops up everywhere. And what I'm telling you what really made me proud, I was at a sports bar, and DJ say, Shuckey Duckey's in the house. Like that. Well, everybody say quack, quack, like that. And this guy came up to me. Now, he's a sports bar, hard dudes. Guy come up to me and say, hey, man, can I take a picture with you? I don't really take pictures with dudes, But he was so enthusiastic as a fan, and he liked that phrase, and he liked the way I did the comedy. He wanted to take a picture. That made me feel good.
Yeah.
That made me feel good.
I'm telling you, as a person who lived in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, to hear Shuckey Duckey for the first time, when Herman Cain said it, and that brought,
and he stole it.
I know, he totally stole it. Who was the other one? Booker T?
Booker T. Booker T. I'm going to tell you somebody who got it first, though, who stole it first.
Who?
Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones. That's insane.
He did it in the juke joints. He did it in the juke joint. He said, Shuckey Duckey. He had Tom Lowe to say, Shuckey Duckey, go high.
Oh, my God.
Dum, dum. But I was, I was flattered. I was really flattered. People say, you ought to go after him. I want to go after them. If they're doing merchandise, I want to go after them. But stop them from saying it. I said, it's the hot new phrase of 1986. It's hot new fun to say. You Shuckey Duckey in your vocabulary today. So to shut somebody down from saying it, I would be feeding the purpose. And then whether people shit on me or praise me, the word is disappointment or excitement. So I got some disappointment on this side. I got some excitement side. And you still saying the word. So I'm still, they say, ain't no bad publicity. As long as you get the thing right.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. Well, with that said, I think we have to promote the show on the 29th of March.
It's 8 o'clock. That's a Wednesday night at the Arlington Improv. And it's going down. We're going to have Barbara Carlisle. And we have Vince D. Think about Q. I'm trying to get Q to come in as well. So we're going to have a good time and enjoy ourselves. You know, I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
If they don't come, I'm still going to be there.
It's going to be great. I went to the last show and I had a blast. And that was the first time I saw Hamburger too. And that was a lot of fun.
That's my running buddy right there.
Yeah, Hamburger's great. I absolutely loved his jokes, so he was great.
Yeah,
well, Shuckey, I really appreciate it. I mean, Cecil Armstrong, Mr. Shuckey Duckey. I want to say thank you very much, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. With that said, please support local comedy in any way, shape, or form that you can, and we will see you on the next one. And there it is. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast today. If you enjoyed it, please head over to improvtx.com to check out all our upcoming shows at the Addison, Arlington, Houston, and San Antonio clubs. If you like this podcast, you might enjoy the other podcasts on the Improv TX Comedy Network. We have The Act Out. From open mics to the big stage, comedians tell us the story they've made, where I talk to comedians from all over and chat about their journey this far. Also, check out the Black Dog Retro Arcade podcast. Straight from the arcade, we talk about how our favorite games were made. That's right, we're talking all that video game goodness. And finally, we have Quacking Up, a storytelling podcast where we pick suggestions from a hat and tell stories based upon them. Once again, thank you so much for listening. Please check out our social media, all links in the description. And with that, we'll see you on the next one.